Hi, friends. I'm Carissa Karowski. Welcome to A Glow in the Dark. I just wanted to share a video on some positive things that you may not have thought about with coronavirus, COVID 19. And the reason I want to share this is because I was actually just telling a friend today that I'm in nursing school right now and it's very overwhelming. So, between that and all of the news that's been going on, I had a period of probably 2 weeks where I basically just sat around eating ice cream. um, and I was really worried that my depression was coming back because I just could not get over the funk and the anxiety of everything going on and had a really hard time calming my panic, especially seeing the grocery stores and watching people's posts on social media. It became very difficult for me to use my rational brain um, instead of instead of just going along with the feelings and everything that I was having. So, um, like everyone else, I definitely had my moments of feeling very insecure and very panicked. And to be honest, it is a difficult time for a lot of people right now. And I'm not making this video to discount that at all. There's definitely things to be concerned about, and I'm not doing this to say we shouldn't be, but just to share a different perspective that um, may help someone else, because that always helps me. There's really no benefit to being panicked. Um, all it does is it makes you do stupid things and make stupid decisions, and it puts stress on your body that is probably not needed. So that is why I'm always looking to change my mindset and change my perspective so that I can live and not just be in a panicky ball of fear all the time. So, some things that you might not have thought about, or maybe you have. First of all, the economy will recover. Don't worry. It People worry a lot about the stock market and people panic, sell their shares and all that stuff. And guess what? It will go up again. And now more than ever, if you can buy when the market's low, it's actually kind of a good thing that the market does go low, because it means you can buy into things when prices are low. It's the same thing when a housing market is low. It's a really nice time to be a buyer because you can buy a cheap house. My husband and I got to experience that um, when the when the not when the housing market crashed, but after the crash. Our first house was very, very cheap. Not so much for the next one. But it's not a good thing for everybody, but for some people, that is a good thing. It's a positive thing. And if everything stayed the same all the time, then different people wouldn't be getting different benefits, if that makes sense. Another thing to think about is our environment. um, Probably you've seen an article going around about swans and dolphins returning to parts in Italy. In Venice, they're seeing that the canals look very clear and there's swans in the canals. And then there's another part of Italy where they're seeing dolphins in the waters that they haven't seen in years and years and years, a very long time. That is so cool. And I never would have thought about something like that. And I think that we can expect to see a lot of different things like that happen in our world across the globe, because people are using less transportation and they're staying inside a little bit more. Um, we might be driving ourselves crazy, but we're going to get to see some really interesting. I'm not a scientist, this is just my prediction. I think we're going to get to see some really, really interesting things with our Earth. And my husband was telling me the other day that it must be a really interesting time for scientists because you probably couldn't pay for this kind of study on the planet. Everybody staying inside and not driving. It's probably a very interesting time to be collecting data. And I can't wait to see what the results are going to be and what our planet is going to be looking like without people putting as much pollution into the world. And yeah, it'll just be interesting to see what those results are. Another thing to consider is that this is a time where we can all come together as humans. We definitely have times like that. You know, people post about how they loved how after 9/11, everybody, all Americans came together and supported each other and blah, blah, blah. And while it's not a good thing that we have those horrible events happen, it is something that does bring humanity together. And while some people are being pretty selfish, I think for the most part, everyone else can see concerns and wants to help their fellow humans. And I think it's a really interesting time for us to be reaching out to each other and realizing some of the deep, deep struggles in this world that we don't normally see. You know, I've seen so many posts on Facebook about how janitors and farmers and health workers are the unsung heroes of today, and shelf stockers and UPS drivers and all that stuff, and how teachers need to be paid more. And again, I'm not saying that it's great what we're going through, but it does bring attention to issues that we normally don't really think that much about. And now we have to think about them. They're thrown in our faces because we're dealing with these realities. We're dealing with people who have unstable jobs and unstable incomes and people who don't have childcare. It's the reality of that is really being thrown to the front lines. And that's a good thing, I think, that we can recognize some of the struggles of people some of us may not normally think about. So I'm just going to stick to those 3 things because I don't want the video to be too long. But if you can think of these 3 things and think on them, you can definitely open your mind to think about more positive things in this situation, and really in any situation. And this is just kind of how my brain works because I've struggled with mental illness for a long time, and I get stuck in my own head and I spiral out of control. And this is one of the things I do to bring myself back to reality and to calm myself down. And it's a way for me to be sane. It's a way for me to live my life and not be paralyzed. So, in conclusion, I hope that this video was helpful to you. As always, thank you so much for dropping by and checking out my channel or just this video. And please don't ever feel bad for taking care of yourself. Like I said at the beginning, yes, there are a lot of sad and bad things happening right now. This is not to gloss over any of that. But whatever you need to do to take care of yourself and keep yourself sane, that's what you need to do, because that's the only way that you can be any good to other people. If you're sitting in your room crying all day, you're not doing anybody any favors. So do what you need to do to take care of yourself, especially now. And if you need to, like myself, work on your headspace and do things to get out of that fear, then you gotta work on it and you gotta do it. So hope you have a good rest of your day and you're able to find some light during the day. See you next time.